Yo guys, a lot of you have asked me for my views on mewing, which is when you change the posture of your tongue. It's essentially supposed to imitate a normal jaw. It's when you put the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth. When I review videos, the tongue is exactly where the people who promote mewing say it's supposed to be. But that's because I don't have this problem. As you can see, somebody such as Andrew Tate, for example, would have to force it a lot. And after a while of forcing it, it's supposed to change your jaw. If you do see any improvements, by all means, continue doing it, even if it's only minor ones. But I haven't seen any actual proof for this. I'm gonna be reviewing a video by the guy who created this practice. The video is called Why Our Ancestors Had Chiseled Faces and Didn't Need Braces. He's for sure good at rhyming. We'll see if the information is also any good.
Check this out. A beautiful set of straight teeth. No, it's not a top model's dental impression, but rather it's an ancient human's jawline. And if you think...
I don't know what he means by ancient, but even 100 years ago, people didn't need braces. This problem that we have with our teeth is a very modern one.
This is a rare find. Think again. From the depths of the fossil record, we consistently find that our ancestors rocked a naturally perfect smile. No orthodontic intervention, no braces, no extractions, no retainers. Yet today, dental offices are booming.
Yes, and that's purely because of malnutrition. There is no other reason. It's mostly because you didn't get enough fat-soluble vitamins, especially K2, when you were developing. No secret to it. We'll see what he will say.
With clients seeking solutions to crooked teeth and problematic wisdom teeth, with the American Orthodontic Association stating that over a third of children need comprehensive treatment and another third needing mild treatment. So, the big question...
They say that around 70% of children need braces today. I would assume that it's even higher at this point. It's really, for sure, most people on Earth, just because of how terrible our diets are today.
Question, what on earth happened? And how did we end up trading?
What happened is super clear. People used to eat almost only animals with some fruits, maybe some root vegetables for hydration, but they got their vitamins and minerals purely from blood and organs and some muscle meat, animal fat. And nowadays, we believe that vitamins and minerals are found in seeds and vegetables, which are the least nutritious foods on Earth, and you can't even digest them. That's it. Totally no mystery, 100% clear.
These chiseled jaws for crowded mouths and smaller faces. And here is where it gets more mind-blowing. Did you know our petite jaws might be compromising more than just our smiles? There's evidence suggesting they might be affecting our very life expectancy. I'm Dr. Mike Mew, an orthodontist.
He probably means that there's a correlation between that, and if you grow up eating garbage, you will probably eat garbage most of your life. You're not going to switch to eating raw meat. Most people won't, and that's why your life expectancy will also be lower. Of course, think about it. You have a child that was malnourished and that believes that grains and broccoli are healthy foods, even though that's not food whatsoever. It's seeds and flowers. And then if they continue living like this, which is going to be the case most of the time, then of course their life expectancy will be lower, seeing as they eat a horrible diet. They always thought that it's healthy, and they will believe that it's healthy until they die, probably in their 60s, 70s, at half of the age that you're supposed to die at.
And orthotropist, and the inventor of mewing. And today we're diving deep into a story that traces back millions of years, unraveling the mystery behind our ancestors' teeth. And more crucially, we'll explore if we can, in the age of soft diets and fast food, reclaim not just our ancestors' smile, but possibly add more breaths to our lives. Ready to chew on this? Let's dive in. How have our teeth changed over millenniums? To unravel this dental mystery, we must first travel back in time, far beyond any recorded history. Ancient skulls, whether they're 500, 5,000, or even 50,000 years old, presented us with a startling consistency. Nearly all exhibited straight teeth, wide jaws.
Yes, that's no surprise, because there didn't used to be any kind of foods that we have today. None of the junk. It's all non-food items. It's just grains with a bunch of drugs and sugar put together, And we eat that because we see that as food somehow, because we were brainwashed simply as children. We were essentially put under a spell. We're completely blind to reality. There used to be some grain products, such as bread. In Egypt, it also traveled to Europe, but people hardly ate that. And even if they ate it, let's say 200 years ago, it was with huge slices of pork fat and lots of organs, along with it blood, sausage, and just pure blood drinking and so on. They would only eat bread if there was no other food around. Whereas nowadays, we mostly eat bread, pastries, burgers. If you eat a burger, you have a 20% super overcooked meat, oftentimes in seed oils, and then 80% plants, just some grain, seed sludge, slime. And that's the reason. It's because that kind of food didn't used to be around. In 95% of the earth, even 200 years ago, except for very few places, and again, that was maybe 10% of their diet in Europe, for example. In Asia, Africa, there were no seed products almost at all. Only in the north a little bit. It's just so simple.
And room for all the wisdom teeth. And to know they didn't have orthodontists back then. Our distant ancestors survived a subsistence lifestyle, one that involved immense amount of chewing, rough, raw, unprocessed foods. We're talking about...
I already know where he is going. Chewing tough food, you could say is natural, for sure. It would happen, obviously. But it's not going to change your jaw as such. The only thing is going to change is your jaw muscles. And I know that there's people out there who try to change their jaw because they are desperate, which is why they start chewing very tough stuff. And then you get these muscles here, but the jaw kind of looks deformed. I've seen these people, and I don't think that it looks normal. You just have these big bulges here. Your jaw, your bones are still the same way they used to be. You just have these bulges here where the muscles are for chewing. For sure, you can train these muscles. If you chew a lot, they're gonna get bigger. But it just really looks like people who are kind of coping and compensating. I don't think that it looks good. And that's the only thing you can achieve by chewing the tough parts of meat, whatever it is. Some people even use special tools for it. But if you want a proper jaw, you're gonna need a lot of fat-soluble vitamins, liver, other organs, brain. When you grow up, raw milk could also help for sure, not as much, but it's helpful. And a lot of cholesterol and testosterone also during puberty.
Chewing up to a third of the day for 4 to 8 hours. A stark
Of course, you would not be... Wait, or did I misunderstand that? Did he said it we were chewing 33% of the day? So we were cows, basically, or why? What is this? Why would he lie? It's really horrible when you push your religious beliefs in a video. It's as if he's trying to appear scientific, he dresses a certain way, but then he just spouts religious beliefs. It's the same as saying Jesus did this and that 2,000 years ago. Okay, how do you know that? Well, the book said so. It's just my religious belief. Same thing. That we chewed 33% of the day. Purely religious. Zero proof. It cannot be proven because it's a belief, a religion.
Contrast to today's total average meal time of about 20 to 30 minutes, often with precious little hard chewing. Because of this,
by the way, even if you look at any tribes that live pretty naturally, the ones that eat raw meat, they eat once or twice a day, at least meat, and they chew a little bit, they drink a lot of blood for the most part, and a lot of the parts are soft, the animal fat especially, they don't chew a lot. They chew maybe even less than a lot of people today.
Teeth show extensive wear and flattening, unlike the teeth we have today. This constant workout for the jaw
the teeth used to be a lot sharper.
Led to more robust jawbones and larger teeth, both well equipped for their dietary.
You can only have larger teeth if you are well nourished. You can chew as much as you want. If you're not well nourished, forget about it. By this logic, you could just chew on vegetables and you would get larger teeth and a jaw. Zero logic.
Demands. We all eat processed food. Either we have it processed by machinery for us, or we process it ourselves with our own inbuilt processing unit, namely our face. The more you use this unit, the stronger and better defined it becomes. However, with the advent of tools and the discovery of fire, the prehistoric menu took a pivotal turn. Cooking not only made food more palatable, but also softer.
Oh wow, this is interesting and incredibly wrong. Obviously, cooked meat is way tougher. Everybody who eats raw meat knows this. Why would he say something so ignorant again? The video is worse than I imagined.
Reducing the need for heavy-duty chewing. Yet this culinary leap...
Also, by the way, cooked meat simply tastes a lot worse also. People never used to eat cooked meat. It's a very recent thing.
It didn't immediately alter our dental structure. About 12,000 years ago, the dawn of agriculture started. That set the stage for a seismic shift. In the pursuit of making foods in greater quantities and more easily edible, our ancestors domesticated plants to make them softer, tastier, and produce higher yields, as well as domesticating animals to make their meat softer and grow fatter. Farming led to a diet more reliant on processed...
That's true. Would the animal's flesh really get that much softer? Maybe, slightly. But I've had a lot of wild meat. You can maybe argue about how wild it is, but I've had very wild animals. And their meat is fine to eat raw, just like that. I wouldn't say that I feel a difference from domesticated cows, for example.
Processed and refined grains, like wheat being processed into white flour or taking the German bran away from rice, so it's just the polished seed, further softening the human diet, with less demand for chewing.
Yeah, but humans never used to eat seeds, that's the whole point.
Our jaws began to shrink. Fast forward to the industrial...
Yeah, because of malnutrition, because seeds have anti-nutrients, which rob you from minerals, and only sugar, so you're eating toxins, anti-nutrients, and sugar only.
Revolution. Technological advancements in food processing meant the laborious milling process could be done in seconds. Slowly but surely things started to get canned and bottled, and compared to the fibrous feasts of our forebearers, our meals were becoming mush. High society fashion trends were also pushing foods to become smoother and softer, as these traits were seen as more luxurious. The more processed your food, the richer you probably were. In a relatively short evolutionary time span, our jaws downsized significantly, but our teeth size didn't change. That's why me and my father believe that the real reason teeth go crooked is because the jaws have grown too small, and so with the limited space the teeth have to grow, they end up jostling each other out of place, creating...
Well, yeah, but everybody knows this. Why is he saying this as if it's something strange? That's just common sense. What else would cause it?
Crowding. Evidence of diet causing crooked teeth. In my early days as an orthodontist, we were taught to believe that environmental factors had minimal impact on growth. The predominant view was that the genetics played the starring role.
It has nothing to do with genetics whatsoever, as in zero. If everybody was well fed, they would have a wide jaw and no crooked teeth. There's nothing to do with it. But yeah, that's what they want you to believe, of course. Then you feel like it's out of your control.
Much like the reasons behind varying hand or foot sizes amongst people, the prevailing thought was simple. Sometimes jaws grow correctly, other times they don't, and it's largely the role of the genetic dice. However...
That's totally stupid, totally not the case whatsoever. By the way, what I just noticed, you see how huge his muscles here are? He's also been training them. That's kind of funny.
Evidence, particularly when we compare modern skulls with ancient ones, paints a different picture. Examine an ancient skull and you'll find nearly 99% chance of straight teeth. Also, you will find their chins are past their...
Yes, of course, because of their diets. The only people that wouldn't have had straight teeth would be children that were malnourished, abandoned, they didn't have enough food. Whatever the reason for it, it was purely because of malnutrition.
forehead line, while today's chins are mostly recessed and behind the forehead line. It's a clear indication that the dental irregularities are a modern affair. This pattern isn't exclusive to humans. Look around at the 5,400 different mammalian species in the wild, and you'll find virtually none with crooked teeth. This stark contrast underscores a crucial point. Dental misalignment in humans is less about natural genetics and more about evolutionary shifts, especially those related to diet. Weston A. Price, in his seminal work...
Wow. Oh, he actually mentions Weston A. Price, but then why does he say such nonsense?
Nutrition and Physical Degeneration documented the stark dental health disparities between indigenous tribes on traditional diets and those who had adopted westernized processed foods. The findings were startling. Within just one generation of dietary shift, the malocclusions became commonplace. With each subsequent generation, the incidence skyrocketed. 50% in the first generation of people on industrialized foods had malocclusion, and after about 60 to 70% in the next generation. After that, 80%, and after that, which is now what we find, about 90%. Today we're seeing the culmination of these changes. Tooth crowding is prevalent, affecting an estimated 30 to 60% of the population, with less than 5% having ideal occlusion. Yet this trend isn't uniform globally. It varies significantly across regions, further emphasizing the role of the environment, particularly dietary factors. Even our primate cousins demonstrate this. In a 1983 study, scientists raised half a set of squirrel monkeys on diets of either naturally tough or artificially soft food. Those fed softer foods had more crowded premolars, rotated...
Yeah, but you would again have to know what exactly they were fed. That makes a huge difference. If we don't know what they were fed, then it doesn't matter. Think about it, if they were fed smoothies of organs, would they have these problems? Of course not. So it has nothing to do with how tough the food was.
Or displaced teeth and narrower dental arches.
Also, the best proof for this is that babies, toddlers, they pretty much don't chew anything tough. Yet you can clearly see if their teeth, their jaw is developing well. And that's purely based on them getting breastfed for long enough and them getting enough nutrient-dense foods. That's it. So again, that alone just debunks it completely.
This realization led to the development of orthotropics. Orthotropics diverges from conventional methods by focusing on guiding the growth of the face and jaws. Using devices like palatal expanders, it's possible to encourage horizontal growth, creating more room for the teeth and, crucially, enlarging the airway. And all of this without the need for invasive surgery. Beyond orthotropics, there's mewing, a technique I developed. It's a simple...
And yeah, of course, it makes sense why he doesn't actually say what really causes it. If he knows about Weston A. Price, why doesn't he mention it? Weston A. Price came to the conclusion that the people were malnourished. He doesn't mention that because he's trying to sell you something. That's what this is all about. You just can't get away from the greed of people. They will just never try to help you so that you or your children, in this case, can have straight teeth and a well-developed jaw. They will just not tell you that it's as easy as simply feeding them nutritious food, because then he doesn't earn anything himself from it.
Simple but potent concept, proper tongue posture. By pressing the tongue against the roof of the mouth, individuals can promote natural growth and alignment over time. It's more than an orthodontic technique, it's a lifestyle.
As I said, if it really does work for some people, great.
Change, but aimed for holistic improvement that children...
These are supposed to be results of mewing or what? Can't say. Would have to see videos because photos can be altered. You can make your jaw look completely different yourself in one photo and 5 seconds later in a different photo. Seeing as he's obviously lying to people and trying to sell you something, I would only take actual videos as proof for something that has been really properly reviewed.
And relatively young adults can use. There will be a link to a video on how to mew and my Mewing app to learn how to become an expert mewer. The changes are gradual but remarkable, and not just in the mirror but in the quality of life. Improved breathing, better sleep, and enhanced overall health, all from understanding and respecting our natural anatomy. The journey of our species from the ancient past to modern civilization is inscribed in our bones, our teeth, and our health. By realigning our approach to orthodontics with the lessons from our ancestors. We're not just straightening teeth, we're reclaiming our health. You may also be wondering, not only did our ancestors have straight teeth and well-constructed faces, but also, weren't their teeth white and did they seem to have no cavities? Quite possible.
They were not white, but they were maybe not as yellow as some people's teeth today. They had a tint of yellow.
That you'll find out next week.
The video is pretty much what I expected. He's trying to sell you something in the first place. That's why he doesn't mention how easy it is to actually fix your jaw and your teeth. Not necessarily yours, if you're an adult, of course, but you can for sure do that with your children. They won't have to suffer the way you did. It has nothing to do with your genetics. There are no crook teeth genetics, any of that nonsense. It's purely malnourishment. This is what you see a lot when it comes to, especially the way you look like. People always try to sell you something in the first place, because if they tell you that all you need to do is eat a lot of liver, brain, blood, fatty meat in the first place, raw milk, then what can they get out of you? Except if they are selling grass-fed organs and raw milk, okay, then yes. And then they probably would say that's what you need, because they can get something out of it. That's what I mean. The greed always consumes these people, and that's what they go for in the first place. He talked about it as if you shouldn't treat a symptom of the problem, but then in the end, really his conclusion is treat the symptoms with my procedures, follow my practices, but then the problem still stays, right? Using what he sells you or doing mewing doesn't change the problem, which is you being malnourished, which I'm sure he knows about, if he knows about Wesley Price. The guy researched the topic quite clearly. Yeah, pretty disappointing. Again, as I said, if you do see improvements, by all means, if you're an adult already and you're looking for any kind of answer, you actually are not delusional in denial, lying to yourself, believing that you see improvements, but you actually literally do. You took photos, videos yourself, and people actually commented in real life that they see an improvement. By all means, do whatever you need to do. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys.